Shalom, family. How's everyone doing? Good, good, good. All right, so welcome back to another Faithful Friday Sabbath Class. So we're going to go ahead and continue where we left off in the book of the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 9. So, book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 9. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me get chapter 9 and verse 10. Oh, okay. Well, my apologies. 10 and 9. So, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 9. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. So now, why is that? Why did wisdom deliver from pain those that attended upon her? Because one of the main forms of pain one receives for not applying wisdom. Remember, this is not the wisdom of the world, but the wisdom of the Most High. So the number one pain that you're going to receive if you don't apply the Most High's wisdom is going to be judgment. Because the key wisdom is dealing with is righteousness. Actually applying righteousness, doing things the right way, not according to man, but according to the Most High God. That's what it's dealing with. So now, that's the key thing. But wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her, those that were constantly trying to make sure they were focused on doing things the right way. But then that still applies with just basic wisdom too, that if you don't follow things, because the scriptures, it speaks not only in terms of, okay, this is thus saith this the law, but the scriptures, as we're reading, speaks on a lot of things that are wise to do. You know, the scriptures still speak, hey, this is still a good practice. So, and it may not necessarily have a formal judgment that, okay, if I don't do this, will I get stoned? Will I get beaten? Will I get put to death type situation? But when you don't apply it, you're still going to have unfortunate circumstances. So, or you know, negative actions or events that take place in your life because you didn't move in a wise way, in a good way. So you're still going to have that. So that's the other side of it. If you don't move in a wise way, you're going to end up hurting yourself or those around you because you're moving foolishly. You're not doing things in a healthy way, or just, you know, as the scriptures deal with, and many people, they learn certain wise things that wasn't a good way to go about that. There's a better way you could have done that or executed that and had a better result. Verse 10, when the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right paths, showed him the kingdom of God, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travails, and multiplied the fruit of his labors. So this is dealing with how wisdom is what preserved our nation and what kept us alive anytime we actually applied the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Verse 11, in the covetousness of such as oppressed him, she stood by him and made him rich. So you have that at times, you know, and this is, again, is a lot of it is giving our history, you know, over time, you know, from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, and, you know, just going down the line of there's Noah, Moses, you know, various people who operated in righteousness and therefore was operating in wisdom, and how it preserved them and, you know, actually, even for Noah, preserved, you know, the world, but even preserved the righteous generations that would come, and then ultimately, you know, the Israelites, and preserving them and keeping them safe and sound and watching out for our forefathers and foremothers. So, verse 12, she defended him from his enemies and kept him safe from those that lay in wait. And in a sore conflict, she gave him the victory, that he might know that godliness is stronger than all. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit, and left him not in bonds, till she brought him the scepter of the kingdom and power against those that oppressed him. As for them that had accused him, she showed them to be liars, and gave him perpetual glory. She delivered the righteous people and blameless seed from the nation that oppressed them. She entered into the soul of the servant of the Lord and withstood dreadful kings and wonders and signs. Okay, 17. And rendered to the righteous a reward of their labors, guided them in a marvelous way, and was unto them for a cover by day and a light of stars in the night season, brought them through the Red Sea, and led them through much water. But she drowned their enemies and cast them up out of the bottom of the deep. Therefore the righteous spoiled the ungodly, and praise thy holy name, O Lord, and magnify with one accord thine hand that fought for them. For wisdom opened the mouth of the dumb, and made the tongues of them that cannot speak eloquent. So you're getting all that history from Noah, from, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses. You're getting how wisdom was guiding all of them. They were all operating in wisdom, and how that was able to help save them and preserve our nation and our people. So that's what got us here, not going about things in another way. Because if you pay attention, the other nations, especially the ones from, from the time of Adam to Noah, they were destroyed. But the ones that the Most High preserved, because they fought for righteousness. They maintained righteousness. Same thing with how the blessings of the promises and the covenants he made with Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all those things were made because of what? Because they were fighting to apply the very law that we're fighting to apply now. Choosing, but also fighting, because although it's a choice, that choice isn't always easy. All right, go left or right. I could go right, but okay, I'm gonna go left. It's not always that easy. Sometimes, I'm trying to go right, but it's like, I'm struggling to make that turn, depending on what vices or things that you struggle with. It's a battle, it's a fight, but it don't mean just because it's hard to make that right, all right, let me just go left. Whew, that was so much easier. No, you have to keep fighting to go right until eventually, I made it right. I made it through that one. So you have to keep that up. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11 and verse 1. She prospered their works in the hand of the holy prophet. They went through the wilderness that was not inhabited, and pitched tents in places where there lay no way. So all these things, and it seems like all right, we just kind of telling a story, and for some people it can kind of go over their heads. But you have to actually meditate on that. They went through the wilderness. Wilderness is a wild environment. It's an untamed environment. In an untamed environment, you were still able to be successful. You were still able to prosper. You're still able to make it through wisdom. So like I said, I was not inhabited. Places where, imagine you going to a place that's uninhabited, in the wilderness. How long you survive? How long you make it? But Most High preserved us, worked with us. You had that. That's powerful. That's a big testimony. Man, the Most High feeding you with manna and bread and taking care, making sure you're all right out there. That's big, because you're doing, thus saith the Lord, you're doing his will. And it says it pitched tents in places where there lay no way, meaning even though there was no set path before, we made a way through the Most High, and following his word, he carved out a path for us. 3, they stood against their enemies and were avenged of their adversaries. That's huge too. Being able to stand against your enemies and being able to be avenged of them. So that's big. Most High being there, he delivered our forefathers and foremothers from the hand of the Egyptians. When it was above and beyond our power to do so. That's a God that will fight for you. That's a God that will be there to support you. So you want that, but you have to be worthy and deserving of that. And you have to do that by applying what he wants you to do. Verse 5, For by what things their enemies were punished, by the same they in their need were benefited. For instead of a fountain of a perpetual running river, troubled with foul blood, for a manifest reproof of that commandment whereby the infants were slain, thou gavest unto them abundance of water by means which they hoped not for. Because that's the thing. The Most High, through all odds, open up doors and avenues for us. That's what we always have to understand to this very day. That if you're moving in wisdom the way the Most High wants you to, you're not going to be forsaken. The Most High, above all odds, will open up a door when none was available. You didn't know how you were going to make it through. You didn't know how it was going to happen. The Most High still works little miracles like this in your life if you're making sincere attempts to do his will in the fight to be righteous. He'll open up them doors that, dang, I didn't know how I was going to make it through that, but he had you. He carried you. That's proof he's working with you. So if you're doing thus saith the Lord. Now, if you're not doing thus saith the Lord, things working for you, it's probably not the Most High God that's directly blessing you. But he's using Satan to bless you, to deceive you, to make you think you're doing right, but you ain't really doing right. So, because Satan has the ability to bless you too if you do the wrong thing. So, if you're doing wrong, good things is happening to you. Yeah, you're being blessed, but not the right way. Not the way the Most High would intend. Nah, he's letting Satan give you them little bit, them temporary blessings. But you ain't going to get the eternal ones. So now, verse 8, declaring by that thirst, then how thou hast punished their adversaries. 9, for when they were tried, albeit but in mercy chastised, they knew how the ungodly were judged in wrath and tormented, thirsting in another manner than the just. For these thou didst admonish and try as a father, but the other as a severe king, thou didst condemn and punish. Now notice that. So although the Most High, people do, the Most High made everybody, right? Most High is he's creator of everybody, everything. But he does not claim to be everybody's God. He does not claim to be everybody's power. He does not claim that. So you have to understand that. You may read something and think that's what he's saying, but nah, that ain't what I'm saying. You got to read the volume of the book, cover to cover, and understand. Get an understanding where no. Because otherwise, he wouldn't have been doing for one versus another if it was that way. But no, you see, he deals differently. Even amongst the children of Israel, he still got favorites. He dealing with Levi differently. I chose them, set them aside to be priests unto me. So you have that. But now noticing him choosing to be a father unto us and a severe king unto the adversaries. Because what's the difference? A father is going to provide and protect. A father is going to rebuke and chastise when needed, but will also have that grace, mercy, care, and compassion. Make sure growing you up, nurturing you properly. But he said on the other side, that severe king, that's going to condemn and punish that, man, I'm going to drop the hammer. You seen some of the movies and shows where you get on the bad side of the king, the ruler, and he say, all right, off with your head. That's what it come down to. That's what it's saying. Like, Most High, against them that do evil. So now that's across the board. And so it don't matter. His people are not. All right, you got judgment coming. So verse 11, where they were absent or present, they were vexed alike. See, they said, man, whether they were there or not, you still got it. Whether you was there or not, you still got hit. You still got it if you was on the wrong side. So 12, for a double grief came upon them, and a groaning for the remembrance of things past. Said a double grief. A lot of us can't even take the grief we already going through, but imagine double. Whatever it is you're dealing with, imagine it's twice as bad. already we bad enough when things is really not, because grief ain't just something, all right, something just happened. Nah, you got some bad stuff that didn't happen because you grieving. You going through it. Let's get that definition of grief. Get definition of grief. Grief, listen to this. Keen mental suffering or distress over affliction or loss, sharp sorrow, painful regret, a cause or occasion of keen distress or sorrow. So it ain't just anything. It said keen distress or sorrow, and that keen being something sharp, something carried about strength and distinctness of perception. Extremely sensitive or responsive. This is extremely sensitive sorrow, extremely sensitive regret, extremely sensitive suffering. That you have that. Now imagine things you've gone through that you felt like that. Now imagine a double portion. That's how it was unto them. You getting it twice as bad. So we don't want that. Verse 13. Wisdom Psalm chapter 11 and verse 13. For when they heard by their own punishments the other to be benefited, they had some feeling of the Lord. For when they rejected with scorn, when he was long before thrown out at the casting forth of the infants, him in the end, when they saw what came to pass, they admired. But for the foolish devices of their wickedness, wherewith being deceived, they worship serpents, void of reason, and vile beasts. Thou didst send a multitude of unreasonable beasts upon them for vengeance, that they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, by the same also shall he be punished. So even the Most High, certain thing, that goes to show you, the Most High, even with judgments, it isn't always something that just pull something out of the hat. Now, a lot of time with judgment, the Most High is calculated. You did this, so okay, I'll cause this to happen. I'll do this in particular. The Most High can hit you anything, but why this? Why this? Sometimes you got to ask yourself that. Why this? And it's not to focus on something all day, every day, for weeks or months, but understanding a lot of times the Most High is trying to show you or teach you something through what it is that he allows to happen to you, or chooses to allow Satan to carry forth the evil in your life, because he's trying to show you something. This is it, This is the thing. But okay, I want to worship, these serpents, these animals. Because remember, a lot of the gods of Egypt are, oftentimes a combination of a person and an animal type situation, at least in how they look. So, having a lot of these animals worship God, was all right, I'm going to send some of these animals on. You want to go back and worship them? Because remember, just because they physically left Egypt didn't mean that they departed from all the mindset and ideologies of Egypt. So they still had a lot of them gods in mind and worship, thinking about. Most I said, nah, that ain't gonna work. All right, I got something for you. That's what you want to do? Don't worry, I got something for you. Just hold on tight. It's coming. Verse 16, and that's oftentimes saying we be as parents. All right, that's what you want to do? Okay. All right, I got something for you. Don't worry. I'm going to get you. So you want to do that? Okay, I got you. So we pick a judgment befitting to the punishment that person was doing. So now, reading on. So now verse 16, that they might know that wherewithal a man sinneth, by the same also shall he be punished. For thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form, when it not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions. So it wasn't necessarily that the Most High wanted to do those things. It wasn't his will. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I like seeing them getting chased by the tigers, the bears, the lions. I just want to see them run. I like them in distress. No, it's not like that. He don't get down like that. That's not, what he get off on, just seeing you suffer at things of that nature. No. It said, 18, or unknown wild beasts, full of rage, newly created, because you have that too. Some people think God just finished creating in Genesis. No, who told you that? That's just what many of the things that he created, the bulk of it. Most High still be creating new stuff. Certain things he create, make something new. Put something new out there here and there, new species. Ain't just something that, snap, that, man, we ain't found that one. Most High, I only made it 1,000 years ago. So that's new right there. Most High be causing new species, new kinds of things to, mix and develop and come about. Most High does that. He's still creating. He ain't stopped creating. He just ain't creating the way he did in the beginning. So, but every now and then, hey, create something new. I make this. All right, I'll create that. So, like I said, or unknown wild beasts. Unknown being these things are unfamiliar. We haven't seen creatures like this before. He said, all right, I'm going to send some of these on you. You ain't seen these yet. Wait till I get these on you because of what you was doing. So, you want to mess with the unknown? I'm going to send something unknown on you. That's what the Most High get down. He said, full of rage. Meaning what? Things that, man, it's venomous. It's aggressive. It's coming at you. So, newly created, it says, breathing out either a fiery vapor or filthy scents of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. So all sorts of different creatures and things that the Most High, you got a plethora of things that I can get you. I got a number of things that can get you, both big and small. These things ain't necessarily big creatures. All sorts of creatures, big, small, insects and things. Most High said, man, I got something for you. So, 19, where not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroy them. So Most High got that too. He got some stuff, because somehow you might see on Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, but Most High even then had stuff that, some of this stuff is not only going to hurt you, the physical, but when you see some of this stuff, it's going to mentally you distraught. Mentally, you ever see some stuff, mentally, ooh, what is that? Oh, heck no, I ain't, That's why I'm not moving over there. That's why I don't live in that country. That's why I'm not going to that state. They got that over there. You can miss me with that one. Well, I'm like, yeah, I'll send some stuff that you see it. If you just see that come in your tent, it's a problem. I was like, all right, bet. I got you. Because the stuff you've been doing, how you been making me feel, the stuff you do on site, when I see something like that, it's a problem for me. So, all right, I'm going to give you a taste of what it is I've been going through with you. When you see that, it's going to be a problem. Just when you see it. I said the same thing. Verse 20. Yea, and without these might they have fallen down with one blast, being persecuted of vengeance, and scattered abroad through the breath of thy power. But thou hast ordered all things in measure and number and weight. So the Most High, even all things, even with all the heat, even in the bad, the Most High still has measures, numbers, and weights. Most High still knows, all right, I'm going to send this. I'm going to send these exact number, and they're going to plague you for this amount of time. And after that, I'm going to have them start dying out. So after that, I'm going to tell them, all right, y'all start going eastward or northward. So I do that too. It was something that lasted for some time, and then, all right, now I have that. But it's all on his schedule, all on his time, not on our time. It's all on his. 21, for thou canst show thy great strength at all times when thou wilt. See that? Most High can show his strength at all times when he will, when he wants to. And who may withstand the power of thine arm? So who's going to be up there? Nah, whatever God throw on me, I can take it. All right, you sure you want to make that? I can hit you with some stuff. All right. I'm going to hit you with something mean, and you ain't going to be able to take it. Ain't no way you can take on that challenge, because the Most High always has something that it will be too much for you. I'm not ready for that. Yeah, that's weighty. Yeah, that's too much. Oh, man, And some of the stuff, Most High knows us. He says some of the stuff, it ain't got to be nothing big. It could be something consistently minor. Consistent. So that's how the Most High can get you. He can get you on the long haul with something small. And so sometimes we be living something big, instantaneous. Now the Most High, he can have you suffering with something small or moderate, long term. So for some years, for some years, let something be messed up in your life. Most High, he can cause you suffering that way. So you don't want to play with him. Verse 23. Actually, verse 22. For the whole world before thee is a little grain of the balance, yea, as a drop of the morning dew that followed down upon the earth. So understanding that in comparison to the magnitude of the Most High, the earth is but a small thing. Because the Most High God, although his essence is throughout all creation, the true entity of him, earth, couldn't necessarily contain all of him, because compared to him is very small to contain all of him. That's why when saw another said, I'll build you a house, it was a situation to where, how you gonna build me? I feel heaven. How you gonna build me something? How you gonna reduce me to something that small? But he said, nevertheless, yeah, go ahead, you got me with that. It's all right. I put a little bit of my essence down there, so because he can do that. The Most High, his magnitude is incomprehensible. So because he feels everything, but yet and still, he has the ability to, hey, it's kind of like maybe you seen that movie, what is it? Guardians of the Galaxy, I believe it was like the second one. And Star-Lord's dad, was a planet. But he can actually make himself like small to, travel and stuff. But the reality is magnitude is like a planet. I'm this whole, planet. I'm just, this whole thing. But understanding that, the Most High, it's like, yeah, I can, squeeze myself in here, but nah, all me, I feel heaven and earth. I feel everything. There's no way you can contain all of me, but I can choose to stick my pinky toe in here just so you can, check me out a little bit, but you ain't gonna catch my whole magnitude. So just in terms of, understand the Most High, he's infinite because he exists outside everything we know, time, space, and matter, because he made all those things. He don't exist in it. He exists outside of it. So he had to create time. He had to create space. I'm going to confine everything here. And then matter. I'm going to make this physical. But he's not physical. So he's not a physical thing. He's spiritual. So imagine like trying to contain all the oxygen on earth into, one room. Imagine actually trying to contain all the oxygen in your house, all the oxygen in the world in just your house. So wouldn't be able to do that, right? But it's one of those things to where the same with the Most High. It's like, man, like you see oxygen is all over the face of the earth. How you gonna contain that in your house? That's how the Most High is with me. I'm everywhere. How you gonna contain me into this? So just to kind of paint a picture, hopefully it's clicking a little bit for some of you to just kind of understand that. So now, verse 23, but thou hast mercy upon all, for thou canst do all things, and winkest at the sins of men, because they should amend. So now, Most High, see, at the end of the day, he can have mercy upon whoever he chooses. So whoever he chooses, all forms of life, he can have mercy on everybody. He can, but it's his choice. So he chooses that, this person I'll forgive, this person I'll condemn. Yeah, this person, I'll give him another chance. It's case by case. And of course, like it says, because he can do all things. And he says, it winketh at the sins of men. Certain things, the Most High, that wink is more so a situation. Yeah, all right, get it together. It's kind of like, all right, hey, get it together. You know, get another chance. I ain't gonna hit you as bad at this time, but get it together. That's more so that wink. That all right. So why? Is it because they should amend? Meaning what? Amend it, meaning to make it right, make it whole, heal it. You should be willing to do that. And Most High is willing to give chance and opportunity people to get it right. Man, He's giving the whole earth time to get right. Everybody time to get right before judgment comes. So he's giving everybody time. Think about how liberal He's been with time for grace, mercy, and repentance. Verse 24. For thou lovest all the things that are, and abhorrest nothing which thou hast made. So the Most High, at the end of the day, everything He created for a purpose. Everything He created, good for its purpose. So even though He's saying, well, He made light and dark, He made good. Yeah, he made balance. There's a role that both play. So he made everything for a purpose. Not necessarily that everything is literally good in the way we might think. So, but He made everything good for its purpose. Even the swine, is good. It just don't eat it. It ain't good to eat. So, but He made it for a purpose. So, things of that nature. You have, balances and things that may, because what are the swine good for? Swine is a natural garbage disposal of the earth. It's one of the natural garbage disposal animals on the earth. So that's one of the uses of it. Same as like other like in the ocean, catfish, in the sea or in the river, catfish, one of the crab, the natural garbage disposals of the earth. That all these things are good, but not good to eat. Some things is like that with the Most High. Certainly, yeah, it's good for this purpose. Just don't do this with it. Don't use it for this. Don't abuse it. So that's what you have with anything. Same thing. Most High, hey, wine is good if measurably drunk, but hey, and in due season. But drink not wine to make thee drunken. Don't drink alcohol I'm trying to get drunk. No. So now, the rest of 24. For thou lovest all the things that are, and abhorrest nothing which thou hast made. For never wouldest thou have made anything if thou hast hated it. So again, if the Most High, if his key thing was, I just hate that, He never would have made in these things if it was just all 100% hate. So it wasn't like that. So Most High, he created everything in love, out of love, and to be loved. So He has care for everything. Most High, just like how you have, we like things, our little fish tanks and things, and observe. Most High like that too. Earth is things. He like looking at some of these creatures. I made these things for me, my entertainment, my pleasure. I like to see, the sharks and the dolphins and the whales and things in my oceans. I like to see that. Most High ain't got, little fish anything in his room. Like, yeah, he got Earth. I like to see all these creatures. I like to be able to watch the, lion chase the gazelle. So, I like that. So, it's for His pleasure. Because those are the things that He created. Think about it. If He didn't want any of those things, he didn't have to create all those things. He could have limited, but He created a variety of creatures because these are all things that He likes, that He wants to see. You see how all these things get together. Like, man, it's all part of His plan, for how He wants things to look as far as Him being the creator. So now, verse 25. And how could anything have endured if it had not been thy will, or been preserved if not called by thee? Because only the Most High, He chooses what things to preserve or what not to. You might look at, man, the Most High preserves something, you just don't know why. Why He preserved a roach. Roaches make it through everything, but it's like, man, it just be something annoying about it. Most High be like, hey, that be the purpose. I like to be able to send them roaches on you when you acting up. That's part of, because some things ain't necessarily meant for your pleasure. Some things he created, you read the script to find out something he created literally just to torment people, because when they mess up, that's what I'm gonna use. You know why? Because when you filthy, you not being diligent. That's what I'm gonna use right there. Sinner, y'all go crash at his house, crash at her house. You should start cleaning up, organizing, clean up your life, clean up your spirit. I do stuff like that. He's creative in that way to use things of physical to explain the spiritual or the mental and get us where we need to be. So he's an expert at that. Certain things, because you read all throughout the scriptures how he tried to tell you, be like this animal. Don't be like that animal. So then us as people, we can get up and study. And I've said some lessons back. He said, dang, why he may liken at times to a lion? Why he may liken at times to a wolf? Why he may liken at times to a sheep? Why he may liken at times to an ostrich? You're learning all these different things. So why you liken at times to a serpent? You start to study these things and learn their nature. That these things have a nature. They have an instinctual way. They have characteristics. That natural characteristics in terms of how they move and operate. That now you see, people do move like that. You have people who can move like a lion. You have people that can move like a snake. You have people that can operate like an ostrich. And they take on some of those characteristics, even if they've never seen that animal in real life. So, but you learn it. It's part of psychology and studying the minds and behaviors of people. So most of all, study the animal kingdom. You'll find out mankind can fall right in line with many of them. So sometimes things like that, most has things that, hey, I want you to learn from some of these things. So 26, it said, but thou sparest all, for they are thine, O Lord, thou lover of souls. Remember, the Most High, he's not a hater of souls. He's not a hater of his creation. He just wants his creation to do right. Primarily those that he made to be as he is, which is mankind. Mankind he made different. So mankind he made to be able to think, reason, move, on a whole different level, because you have the ability to receive and process information on a whole different level compared to the rest of the animal kingdom. So he made you in his image to be able to reason, plan, think on a whole nother level to be a miniature version of him. That's why he's so mad at when mankind sins. He ain't punishing the penguin for sinning. He ain't doing that. He ain't looking at the squirrel why you do. No, he ain't make them the same way. He ain't give them his laws, commands, move a certain way. No, he ain't give that to the turtle. No, he gave that to you. He gave that to mankind. But the other day, hey, that may have nothing to do with it. I don't want. All right, well, I'll narrow it down, and I'm gonna work with these people in hopes they will do my will. That's what he wants. So now, chapter 12 and verse 1. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12 and verse 1. For thine incorruptible spirit is in all things. So now you see that. Most High, his incorruptible spirit is in all things, because he made all things. He made all things. Used the same blueprint. Used part of his essence to create everything. And everything came from him. So he formed, like he forms the dark and the light. Both are his. Good and evil belong to him. So he's the one that and he's the one even decided, yeah, that's good, that's evil. Yeah, that all this, and this, that's good. This, and this, that's bad. I created that. Yep. I created that. So, and I made it because I want man to understand, know the difference. Do that, don't do that. So move this way, don't move that way. So he created all that. Chapter 12, verse 2. And of course, verse 1 is also dealing with, like I said, Most High, his spirit feels heaven and earth. So feels it. His spirit is everywhere. Like we were dealing with, which just to give an idea, kind of like with the air, oxygen, all around us. They got oxygen in China, Germany, Russia. They got oxygen all over the world, So, but yet and still, it's a situation where you can't just capture all the oxygen in the world. You don't have anything big enough to contain it, store it, house it. No. Even if everybody in the world did a big 1, 2, 3, everybody in the world still wouldn't be able to suck all the oxygen out of the air. Still be much more in the air than in our lungs. So, same with the Most High. Spirit is everywhere and is ginormous, gargantuan. So, verse 2. Therefore, chastenest thou them by little and little that offend. So this is important. So it says, therefore, chastenest thou them by little and little that offend. See, when you're messing up or sinning, the Most High is not in a space where he is trying to destroy you outright. That's not the will of the Most High. He's trying to get you little by little, okay? Little by little, he's trying to get you. That means he's doing things in such a way to where it's strategic to try to get you to wake up and realize you're wrong. You're going the wrong way. You're in sin. So I'm going to hit you with that. So hopefully you see. And I'm going to hit you with that. So hopefully you see. All right, now I got to raise the stakes a little bit because you ain't seeing. Let me hit you with that. Hopefully wake you up to realize, hey, you ain't moving right. You didn't make some adaptation, make some changes. So you're not in a bad space with me. So, like it says, thou for chastenest thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended. So that's the key thing. Most High, he's in a space where he's always trying to warn you. He's always trying to warn you because the reality is you think, well, dang, he ain't got to, bring this to this. Yeah, he does. Because a lot of things that are based upon the laws and things that he set up. And it's not just like a situation where, okay, I just said it just to say it, but it's kind of like the laws of nature, learning, all right, like with gravity, what goes up must what? Must come down. So it can't just be, all right, well, can't I just go and just leave it there? It's like, no, the way things are set, that's the natural order of things. So that's, hey, you toss up, it don't matter that glass cup or that tablet or that phone, hey, throw it up there, it's going to come right back down. That's the way he set things up. Even the spirit has rules and regulations. So as it pertains to that, hey, if you sin, you're not going to be able to enter the kingdom, be righted, because with the new bodies I'm going to give you, it's going to reject you. It ain't going to work. It just ain't. There's no way possible it can work. You can't put, that's what Christ was saying, you can't put new wine in an old bottle. That it's not going to be able to contain or work. You can't put new wine in an old bottle. You still likewise can't put old wine in a new bottle. Otherwise it ain't going to contain. It's going to burst one or the other. And he was making reference in terms of the spirit that you can't take an unclean, filthy spirit and try to put in this nice, new, pristine, righteous body. It ain't going to hold. So it ain't going to work that way. It's going to corrupt. It's going to corrupt. You're going to be back in the same space. So it's like trying to fit a triangle in a circle. It ain't going to work. So and they the same size. Some people, well, can't you just make it real small? No, it's the same size. Same size. It ain't gonna fit in there. Otherwise, you try to beat a hammer into you gonna break one or the other. That's what he's letting you know that ain't no. All right, well, I just get one this size and another one this size, and then just it's not the same size. Certain things we can't just make same size. This is the order, the way things are set up, the balance, the checks and balances. So the natural checks and balances. There's a method to the madness in the system. So now, in verse, and like it says, therefore chattest thou little them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Lord. That's the goal. The Most High wants you to leave your wickedness. He wants you to leave your sins. So that's always the goal. The goal is not for you to continue in sin or continue in wickedness or an iniquitous lifestyle. That's not what he wants. Now, verse 3. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land, whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices. Those are the things the Most High. That's what's going to bring the destruction. When you're doing the things that he hates. Not that you're doing the right thing. Right things, that's how you get the rewards. The blessings for doing the right thing, of course, in due season. It don't just mean, all right, well, I did what God wanted me to do today. I should get something good for that. I mean, shoot, I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for him. Yeah, but it ain't necessarily a immediate return on investment just because I did something good today. Most are like, all right, let's keep doing something good the next day, and the next week, and the next month, and the next year. Excuse me. Make it a history. Make a pattern. So then I can judge you better off of that pattern and say, okay, truly, hey, you moving this way, all right, I drop this on you. Yeah, and the other thing, time you see, all right, I see you doing good on that. You repented from that, all right, I'll drop something else on you. Here's this blessing. So Most High can have that at times too. So verse 5. And also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh in the feast of blood. So all these things he's looking at, that all these are the wicked things that I'm going to destroy you for, because these things I don't want you doing. So I don't want you doing them. And if you do them, you're going to have a bad day with me, because now I got to send some type of judgment. Now I want to just try to correct you and get you right, but certain things, if you don't, now I got to take you out. You have overly or ultimately corrupted your body, corrupted your flesh. So now the spirit is too destroyed. It got to go. So it got to go. Catch you next lifetime. It got to go. So now, reading on in verse 6. With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that kill with their own hands souls destitute of help. So now, of course, and it says, and the parents. Why is it a parent that kill with their own hands so destitute of help? Because a lot of times you have the parents who are willingly sacrificing their children. So oftentimes taking their physical lives or delivering them up to have their very lives taken. But also, too, it still goes on today. Yeah, in some places that, literally. But more so, you're sacrificing your children's spiritual well-being through not doing your due diligence and seeing where some of the customs or things come from, or the things you may choose to celebrate, and yet put it on them. It's for the kids. It's for them. This is how I'm doing it for. When it's what you're doing right, what you're doing good. These things, what realize what gods are you serving through doing this? That it's not a help for them. You're destroying them. you're setting them up for failure. So you have to realize that and then make the changes accordingly. Okay. So now let's read on in verse 7. That the land which thou esteemest above all others. So again, Most High, it said he esteems above all over. So this land is more important than all other lands. So than all the land, yeah, there's a lot of land out there. Most of us say, all right, but this land is my favorite land. This area's right here. I like this area the most. So, verse 7, that the land which thou esteemest above all other might receive a worthy colony of God's children. That's the thing. Most High looking for a worthy colony of children. Worthy. Lets you know everybody ain't worthy. He's looking for it. And if he's looking, he's searching. He's trying to find something that's not easily available. That's not relevant. That's not right there. Let you know that worthy colony, they ain't just right there. They few and far in between. That's why I'm looking in the first one. I'm searching. So because I don't see it out here just lottie-dottie, everybody left and right, and it's just out there. No. He said it's hard to see it. It's hard to come across it. So, and it says, verse 8, nevertheless, even those thou spiritest as men, and didst send wasps, forerunners of thine host, to destroy them by little and little. See it? I sent all types of things to destroy little by little. All right, gonna take them out. So, Most High knows how to use those things. Verse 9, not that thou was unable to bring the ungodly under the hand of the righteous in battle, or to destroy them at once with cruel beasts or with one rough word. See it? Most High said, I can destroy them with cruel beasts or with one rough word. Rough words you don't want to hear. Words that can be hard to hear sometimes, hard to fathom, or hard to swallow. You know. That man, like you told him, like, that's for y'all. And what y'all thought, because y'all kids that y'all said was going to be a spoil and a print out, they all right. But as for y'all, from 20 years of age and upward, y'all going to die in this wilderness. Y'all going to keep walking in this wilderness. So that's how I'm going to do about that. That's how I'm going to fix that. We got that right now. See, that's what's wrong with y'all today. This is what y'all going to do. Yeah, this is how we going to fix this. So that's how the Most High be thinking and feeling, man. Let me see. So, and you know what? We'll leave off here, and we'll actually pick things back up with Wisdom of Solomon chapter 12 and verse 10. I'm gonna pick up, right there, because that's gonna coincide with where we're in 12 and 2. That's a good precept for that. Okay, so because then I want to elucidate that more. But hope, Most High willing, you guys got something out of this reading. Learn a little bit. As we're going through this book and through these chapters, and hopefully just reflect on these things. And hey, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.